नाजरीन, वेलकम बैक टू द प्रोग्राम। हम डिस्कस कर रहे थे मुख्तलिफ़ कंट्रीज़ के लॉज जो हेट इंसाइट करने पे अप्लाई होते हैं। अब हम डिस्कस करेंगे फ़िनलैंड। फ़िनलैंड प्रोहिबिट्स हेट स्पीच and defines it as publicly making statements that threaten or insult a national, racial, ethnic or religious group or a similar group. In France, France prohibits by its penal code and by its press laws public and private communication which is defamatory or insulting or which incites discrimination, hatred or violence against a person or a group of persons on account of place of origin, ethnicity or lack thereof, nationality, specific religion. The law prohibits declarations that justify or deny crimes against humanity, for example, Holocaust. Germany. In Germany, it is punishable offense under section 130 of the Germany's criminal code and can lead to up to 5 years of imprisonment. Section 130 makes it a crime to publicly incite hatred against part of a population or to call for violent or arbitrary measures against them or to insult, maliciously slur or defame them in a manner violating their constitutional rights. Then again, in Iceland, the hate speech law is not confined to inciting hatred, as one can see from Article 233A in the Icelandic Penal Code, but includes simply expressing such hatred publicly. Anyone who in a ridiculing, slanderous, insulting, threatening or any other manner publicly assaults a person or a group of people on the basis of their nationality, color, race, religion shall be fined or jailed for 2 years. Now in India, India prohibits any manner of expression which someone might consider insulting to his religion or which for whatever reason might disturb public tranquility under Article 19(2) of the Constitution of India. Certain reasonable restrictions have been imposed on the right of freedom of speech and expression, such as sovereignty and integrity of India, the security of the state, friendly relations with the foreign states, public order, decency and morality, or in relation to contempt of court, defamation or incitement to an offence. In Ireland, the right for free speech is guaranteed under the Constitution 40.6.1.I. However, the Prohibition of Incitement to Hatred Act prescribes worse of behaviors which are threatening, abusive or insulting or intended or having regard to all circumstances are likely to stir up hatred against a group of persons in the state or elsewhere on account of their race, color or religion. Jordan. 2 Jordanian newspaper editors were jailed for 2 months after being found guilty of attacking religious sentiments. Netherlands. The Dutch Penal Code prohibits both insulting a group under Article 137C and inciting hatred or discrimination or violence. New Zealand prohibits hate speech under the Human Rights Act 1993, Section 61. Racial disharmony makes it unlawful to publish or distribute threatening, abusive or insulting matter or words likely to excite hostility against or bring into contempt any group of persons on the ground of the color, race or ethnic or national or ethnic origins of that group of persons. Section 134, inciting racial disharmony, lists offenses for which racial disharmony creates liability. In Norway, Norway prohibits hate speech and defines it as publicly making statements that threaten or ridicule someone or that incite hatred, persecution or contempt for someone due to their skin color, ethnic origin, religion or philosophy of life. In Poland, the hate speech laws in Poland punish those who intentionally offend the feelings of the religions and prohibit any expression that insults a person or a group on account of national, ethnic or religious affiliation or the lack of a religious affiliation. In Serbia, the Serbian constitution guarantees freedom of speech but declares that it may be restricted by law to protect rights and respectability of others. Because of inter-ethnic conflicts during the last decade of 20th century, Serbian authorities are very rigorous about ethnic, racial and religious-based hate speech. It has processed as provoking ethnic, racial and religion-based animosity and intolerance criminal act and punished with 6 months to 10 years of imprisonment. In Singapore has passed numerous laws that prohibit speech that causes disharmony amongst various religious groups. The Maintenance of Religious Harmony Act is an example of such legislation. The Penal Code decriminalizes the deliberate promotion by someone of enmity, hatred or ill will between different racial and religious groups on grounds of racial or religious grounds. It also makes it an offense for anyone to deliberately wound the religious or racial feelings of any person. In South Africa, Act number 4 of 2000, Promotion of Equality and Prevention of Unfair Discrimination Act, contains the following clauses. Subject to the provisions of Section 12, no person may publish, propagate, advocate or communicate words based on one or more of the prohibited grounds against any person that could reasonably be construed to demonstrate a clear intention to be harmful, to incite harm, to propagate or propagate hatred. The crime of crimen injuria, unlawful, intentionally and seriously impairing the dignity of another, may also be used to prosecute hate speech. In Sudan public prohibits hate speech and defines it as publicly making statements that threaten or express disrespect for any ethnic group. In 2002, it was used to convict Pentecostalist Pastor Aki Green of hate speech based on a 2003 sermon citing biblical passages concerning homosexuality. His conviction was taken up by the court. In Switzerland, public discrimination or invoking to rancor against persons or a group of people because of their race, ethnicity is getting penalized with a term of imprisonment until 3 years or a mulct. In 1934, the authorities of the Basel-Stadt canton criminalized anti-Jewish hate speech, example, the accusation of ritual murders, mostly in reaction against a pro-Nazi anti-Semitic group and newspapers. The Volksbund was also prosecuted based on that law. In Thailand, hate speech formally prohibited in civil and criminal statutes, but state machinery and society as a whole generally do little to prevent it or prosecute parties promoting or engaging in hate speech. In the United Kingdom, several statutes protect several categories of person from hate speech. The statutes prohibit communication which is hateful, threatening, abusive or insulting and which targets a person on account of skin, race, nationality, ethnic origin, religion or sexual orientation. In the United States, laws prohibiting hate speech outside of obscenity, defamation and incitement to riot are illegal in the United States. The United States federal government and state governments are broadly forbidden by the First Amendment of the Constitution from restricting speech, even in cases where speech encourages illegal violence. Instances of incitement qualify as criminal only if violence is imminent. This strict standard prevents prosecution of many cases of incitement, including prosecution of those advocating violent opposition to the government and those exhorting violence against racial, ethnic or gender minorities. Under Title 7 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, employers may sometimes be prosecuted for tolerating hate speech by their employees if the speech contributes to a broader pattern of harassment resulting in a hostile or offensive working environment for the employees. नाज़रीन, आपके सामने मैंने दुनिया के तमाम ममालिक, तरक्की याफ्ता ममालिक, वेस्टर्न ममालिक के क़वानीन का हवाला दिया। उनके लॉज़ को मैंने आपके सामने रखा और ये बात वाज़े तौर पे सामने आई है कि हेट यानी नफ़रत को इंसाइट करना यानी वरगलाना कानून के ऐन मनाफी है। लेकिन अमेरिका के अंदर फर्स्ट अमेंडमेंट राइट के तहत कुछ प्रोविजंस हैं जिन प्रोविजंस के तहत इस किस्म के मामलात को जो टेरी जोन्स ने किया है उसको ज्यूरी में कन्विक्ट करने में ख़ासी मुश्किलात हैं। चुनांचे हम ये समझते हैं कि ऐसा कानून आलमी सतह पर तस्लीम किया जाए اور اقوام متحدہ کے اندر لایا جائے جس میں تمام مذاہب کو پروٹیکشن حاصل ہو۔ ہم یہ نہیں کہتے کہ صرف اسلام کو، صرف قرآن کریم کو، بلکہ تمام آسمانی کتابوں کو اور تمام ریلیجیس بکس کو پروٹیکشن حاصل ہو۔ ہمیں ایک دوسرے کی رسپیکٹ کرنے کی تہذیب کو اپنانا ہوگا، اور لفظ ایکسٹریمزم کسی کے ساتھ لیبل کر کے اس کے مذہب کو بدنام کرنے کی کوشش کو روکنا ہوگا۔ ٹیری جونز کا واقعہ یقیناً ایک چھوٹا واقعہ ہے، 30 لوگوں پہ مشتمل ایک چھوٹے سے شہر کا واقعہ ہے، لیکن یہ ایک بڑا واقعہ بھی ہے۔ اس واقعے کو جو اس سے بڑے ریاکشنز ہوں گے اور حالات پیدا ہوں گے، اس کو روکنے کے لیے ہمارے لیے ایک سبق ہے۔ ہم دنیا میں ایک گلوبل ولیج میں رہتے ہیں، ایک ایسے ولیج میں جو کہ پلورلسٹک سوسائٹی ہے، ایک ایسی سوسائٹی جس کے اندر سکھ بھی رہتا ہے، ہندو بھی رہتا ہے، مسلمان بھی رہتا ہے، کرسچن بھی رہتا ہے اور یہودی بھی رہتا ہے۔ ہمیں آپس میں رہنے کا طریقہ سیکھنا ہوگا۔ ہمیں یہ سمجھنا ہوگا کہ دنیا میں 6 ارب 69 کروڑ انسان بستے ہیں، 1 ارب اور 65 کروڑ مسلمان ہیں، 2 ارب اور 10 کروڑ عیسائی ہیں، 90 کروڑ ہندو ہیں اور 1 کروڑ 40 لاکھ یہودی ہیں۔ ہمیں انٹر فیتھ ڈائیلاگ کو پروموٹ کرنا ہوگا اور ہمیں ایسے حالات پیدا کرنے ہوں گے جہاں پر ہم ایک ساتھ رہ سکیں۔ ناظرین، ہمیں شیطان کی شیطانیت سے اجتناب کرنا ہے اور دنیا کی اقوام کو لیڈ کرنا ہے۔ اس جیسے بہت سے ٹیری جونز ہمارے راستے میں آئیں گے، ہم ان کو کچلتے ہوئے آگے چلے جائیں گے اور ان کو بھی درس دیں گے کہ شاید ان کی نسلیں بھی اسلام کی طرف راغب ہوں۔ ہمیں توجہ دینے کی ضرورت ہے اپنے مذہب کے پرچار کرنے کے لیے۔ شکریہ ناظرین۔